For the last few months, designers have been feeling more and more the pressure to change their tools and move from the vector canvas to working with actual code. Even Figma themselves have felt the pressure, and that's why a lot of their config releases involved code. Today I'm going to talk to you about Figma Make Local Code. It's a feature that allows you to download your own code. Whatever is the project that you're working on, you can either clone it or download it, open it in a local folder, and you will be able to work on this actual production code inside the canvas. I'm going to show you many things, from how to get started to actually sign up for this feature, the value of being able to edit elements directly on the canvas, how you're able to copy all this work to your Figma design, work on it there, and how the connection is made to allow you to push back any changes you make to your actual code. There is tremendous value in this feature for designers that want to work with their production code. At the same time, they do not have the necessary technical background to work from the terminal or with IDEs or developer tools. Please note, this feature is still in beta, and it's also a closed beta that's available only for a few people. In order to get access, you can sign up here. I'm going to include the link of this form in the video description so you can fill it up and apply, but you need to speak to your Figma admin if you're working in a larger organization in order to get access. Once you've done that, the Figma team will send you an email with instructions. You need to download the Figma Beta desktop app. This looks very different from the Figma app. You can see it doesn't have any of the colors. This is what I will be using today to show you everything that we're doing. Once I have access to this feature, and once again, I'm inside Figma Beta app. This is not the regular Figma desktop app. I come here, I start a new make file, and you will see I have access to open folder and clone repository. Now, clicking on open folder will prompt you to your finder. I'm on a Macintosh, so you'll be able to select whatever project that you want that contains your code. By selecting the folder that you want, you'll be able to get started. Now, the second way I'm going to show you is clone repository and clone a local version of the code that your team is working on. This is extremely useful because you will not be designing or vibe coding from scratch. You will be working with your actual project. Let me show you an example from GitHub. Let's say your code is on GitHub. Your developers have shared that with you. You can come here to code, and in the drop down, you can either copy the URL by clicking on this icon. If you're using other tools than GitHub, like Bitbucket or something else, you may require an SSH key. So now that we've copied our HTTPS link from GitHub, the second step is it's asking you, where do you want to save this on your computer? Because remember, we're going to clone this on our desktop in order to work with it. And I will click select folder. Now, once you've done that, the Figma Make is capable of reading all your code. It will start installing your dependencies in order to run your project. Once it's done that successfully, you will find your project is loaded right here in your canvas. You will see it's running on an HTTPS local host, which means this is running locally on my machine. This is my actual code. This is not just a Figma design that I have. So any fix that I do here, I will be able to push back to my actual code as a pull request for my developers to review. So let me start showing you the interface. On the left right here, you have the chat with your LLM. This is where you communicate the things that you need. You have a drop down with your actual folder that allows you to rename it, to move the file. Switching sessions, this is worth calling out. You'll be able to start a new session on the same project. The reason I would do that is to just like reset everything. And you can see it installed all the dependencies, and now all previous history that I've done is erased. So if I come back now 2 sessions, I will see this is my previous session. It was right here. I can see there are 31 changes on main. And even if I hover on it, Figma Make is saying you're making changes on main. You're making changes on the main file. That's not where you want to be working. We recommend using a branch instead. So let's start by creating a branch. So here I'm going to say visual enhancements. It's adding the dash on my behalf. Here you go. So I'm going to create and check out. And now you will see at the very bottom here, I am working inside the branch visual enhancements. If I click on the drop down, I'm able to change here the branch. I can go back to main. I can see all the other branches that I've created elsewhere. And right here at the bottom, you can see the name of the folder I'm actually working within. Continuing with the interface, this is the dictate button. This is where you're able to give instructions to the LLM by speaking. The first time you prompt this, you may need to allow access to your microphone. You have access to different Claude models. Remember, Figma Make is using Claude, so you can either use Sonnet, Haiku, or Opus. The permissions are either default or they have auto-approved. When you're asking for things, it will ask you for many permissions, so going to auto-approve could be useful at that stage. And the plus button right here allows you to either get started from a Figma design or to upload an image. Now, on the top here, I have another action toolbar. It has the share option, which will allow you to push this branch and have it live. You have a feedback button. This is where I can send feedback to the Figma team because I'm testing this feature in beta. And this is where I have access to my commits history. So every time I make a change, Figma Make automatically pushes a commit, and you're going to see that in action. Let me start showing you the tools. First, we have the preview option. If you click on that, it allows me to navigate between a tablet view, a mobile view, which I can see is not working, and a desktop default. This could be a very good first action we can work on. But second, you can see the copy to design option, and this allows you to work within a Figma design file. If I click on the copy to clipboard here, and I come back to a Figma design, I'm able to paste my work right here inside the Figma design. And if I do make any changes here like I've done, Figma design is able to recognize the connection with Figma Make, and it's telling me design from Figma Code Connect has been edited. Update to Make. Clicking on that will send my changes back to Figma Make. Now that connection is fantastic. It's not perfect yet, and I'll show you why, especially when we start working with design systems, but it does a very good job of sending back your changes. Now, this is a console. If you toggle it, you'll be able to see any errors in the code as they show up. This right here, the edit button, is the most exciting part as far as I'm concerned, because the value of bringing my code to Figma Make as a designer is to be able to edit things visually. So let me show you what we have access to here. Once I have the edit mode enabled, now suddenly you'll see my canvas starts interacting with my clicks visually. The moment I select an element, I have the ability to hover on it and move it. I can also edit the text directly. You can see I have access here to my typography, so I can change this to something else and see how visually it reflects in my canvas. That's great. Now, I do not like that, so clicking Command Z on my Mac will undo this work. Let me show you. Command Shift Z will bring it back. Now, do you see the moment I've made a change, what happens here in my left side canvas? Figma Make automatically recognizes the change and it adds it in a list of edits that it will eventually apply. I can click on apply directly, or I can wait here until I have more of these changes. I can also click on discard right away, and it brings everything back. It does the same thing on my canvas. This is extremely useful. When I come to typography, very likely if I'm working with a design system, I may want to use my variables. And it's wonderful. I can see I have access to my variables here. Now, this particular project is not connected to a design system. Let me show you here. In this particular test, I'm actually using a design system. If I were to click on variables, you can see at the very bottom, I have access to my design system variables, which is fantastic, but I'll come back to that later. Continuing with the interface, I can change the background. In this case, I do have a variable, and once again, this is added to my queue. Let me change the text here. So if I double click on the text, it allows me to edit it on the canvas. View, design, system. Now let's say I want to select the whole row and I'm not able to do it on the canvas. I can come right here to where the elements are. And by the way, you can manipulate this right side property editor. You can also change the elements. You can lower the elements if you don't want to see the HTML elements, or you can bring them up. But I'm lifting them up here right now, just so I can select the right canvas the same way we do this in Figma Design. And I can see this is the main container. This is the actual article. We can change the background color. You can add a border color. You can add effects like drop shadows, layer blur, inner shadow, background blur. All these things that we have access to in Figma Design, you can add them manually right here. Let's say I like all these things. All I would have to do is apply. Now, what this will do is it will prompt Figma Make to apply all these changes in my code as well, not just in the reflected design. And now you can see it did that. The last thing on the canvas that I want to show you is the Annotate for Agent option. Once you click that, you will be able to come here and add a comment for the agent. And you can see they are numbered because it's very likely that you may want to send multiple changes at the same time. And this is if it's something more complex that you're not able to edit yourself. So as an example, I'm going to select this particular arrow. So I'm saying add a more vibrant animation to this arrow to prompt my user to navigate down. And when I click on this, you will see it's sending it to the agent, but it has this icon of it being an item in a list because it is not going to apply this change till I'm done with multiple changes, but it's one of them. Another thing could be, I'm saying change the placement of the images to be more dynamic. So you don't have to do one change at a time. And here you go. It came back and it definitely did something way more interactive with my animation. That's very nice, actually. When the user comes here, they load my app, they're able to go down. That's great. And it did change something with the images. It moved them on top of each other. It created something that's lively. If you click right here on the More menu, you will see you have the option to hard reload the preview or toggle developer tools. As this will become the equivalent of what you have in your browser, the developer tools that you have access to in Chrome. So clicking here, for example, will allow you to inspect an element and see the actual code for it. And why this was super useful working with my developer is we were able to see that what we created was actually using real components from our design system, real variables. All the design system work that we've leveraged, we were able to use it here. The lead design system developer on our team has created a specific environment where designers can work using our enterprise design system. And this is the most tremendous value because whatever I create, I want to be able to use an accurate design system, not just vibe code things, because the goal of this feature is to allow designers to rise to design engineers that can push back to the code and require minimal changes before our changes can go to production. So in this particular example, I got started with a playground file that has applied the skill of my design system to Figma Make. Please note this is additional work that our developers had to do. It doesn't exist yet in Make. And that's why I'm saying you want to collaborate with your developers, but it's very simple. We're just using our design system as a skill applied within the repository that I had to download. I got started by prompting the LLM to create a simple form, a simple registration form, and it did that. Now, what's exciting here is not the shape of the form. I mean, it's functional, right? It allows me to add, remove, it allows me to use drop downs, but what's really exciting here, this is my actual design system components and tokens. And rather than go toggle the code and show you, the proof to that is when I click on this theming icon that our developers created, you will see immediately my whole theme changes live because every component here is carrying my tokens. Let's say I've done this work and I'm happy with it. The conclusion of what you can do with Figma Make Local Code is I can create a pull request. What's a pull request? It's you sending your changes to your developers so that they can review them, and if they are ready, they can push them back to the code. Now, creating a pull request will bring me back to GitHub, where I'm able to add a description of the changes that I make, and doing that will send this commit and the work that I've done to my team so that they can review it and decide if they want to merge it. That is the beauty of this feature. I hope you found this demo useful. I know this does not exist out there yet, so I wanted to give you an earlier glimpse on what is happening. I think there's tremendous potential. Let me know in the comments if you feel you would use this feature, if it will simplify your processes, or anything else that you would like to learn. And if you stuck around so far, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.